All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're coming together to show respect and discipline and moves from the top of a building in New York around pigeons because we are here to talk about Karate Kid Legends.
Karate Kid Legends coming hot off of the end of the Cobra Kai show. This was something that was really interesting as it was completely unrelated to Cobra Kai. As a matter of fact, they couldn't use anything related to Cobra Kai because of some rights stuff. They couldn't reference anything from the show, but they were able to throw in some cool nods and a cameo in the post-credit scene. So just out of curiosity, with the Karate Kid as a series and franchise as a whole, what is your origin story, and are you a Karate Kid fan?
I am an OG Karate Kid fan. I loved the first three movies. Shout out to number 3, really taught me how to raise a tree correctly. I remember the animated series ever so fondly, though I could not remember the plot of anything. I just thought it was cool that there was a cartoon of it because they could make anything into a cartoon in the 80s. But love the first 3 movies. Then we got Anna Clumpsy in there, and I was like, oh, well. And then she killed Macaulay Culkin. She let him die. All right?
I know that, but she was never in the Karate Kid movies.
She was in the next Karate Kid.
As what?
She was the girl.
Not the Karate Kid. Oh, I love this. I love episodes
Who
like
was
this.
it? No, that was Anna Clumpsy.
Oscar winner Hilary Swank was the next Karate Kid.
Are you sure about that?
I will bet you my life and my kids and all my life savings. You know, there's a talk about an episode on The Office where they're going back and forth. Is Hilary Swank hot? And that's just what I remember from not even recent. I guess The Office is going on 15, 20 years now, depending on what episode that you're looking at. But yeah, absolutely, 100%. If anything, you should just watch a movie of my choice based on that awful misrepresentation of the lead actress. No disrespect to Anna Clumpsky, but sorry, you weren't in the Karate Kid.
What terrible Anna Clumpsy movie am I thinking about now that also ruined the franchise?
Has she been in any other movies besides My Girl and My Girl 2 and maybe one other movie? I feel like she was in a recent TV show.
She was in Veep, but she's got a long list of acting credits.
And one of those credits is definitely not.
It is not
Next Karate Kid.
I didn't say you were wrong. I didn't say you were wrong. I just said I had to look.
Oh, man.
You're right. Hillary
sorry.
Also terrible in that.
This is, ooh.
Man.
Okay, to go back to that Office debate. Hilary Swank, hot? It was just like, are you just like trying to get me fired right now? Like,
it's a movie to movie thing. I'm pretty sure that regardless of our thoughts, Hilary Swank could kick our ass because I'm damn sure that she was in that boxing movie with Clint Eastwood.
Who's more dangerous, that character or Julie from the next Karate Kid?
Oh, that character.
$1 Million Baby?
$1 Million Baby.
On the ventilator and everything?
She'll bite your tongue off, buddy. She'll bite your tongue off.
Oh, man. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, so Karate Kid. Sorry, I don't even know if you were finished with your Karate Kid explanation. I just had to jump on that bandwagon of opportunity.
No, you always do. You're always good at opportunity. Honestly, I haven't seen the next Karate Kid in forever because I didn't like it at the time. And I think at the time I thought it was Anna Clumpsy. And at the time, she was not Oscar winner Hilary Swank.
It's true.
So, yeah, no. Oops. Wrong. Wrong random. What is it? Late 90s, early 2000s actress. Though one of them obviously has risen to the top, and it was probably from the discipline that she learned from Miyagi. Ever since Karate Kid Part 3, everything that's come out after that has been a no for me. Much like my apparent hate for Anna Clumpsy. I also despise Jaden Smith, so there was no way I was watching The Karate Kid with him. Not that I don't appreciate some Jackie Chan, but I mean, that kid
When
can
you
write a
say
movie.
when you say you hate Jaden Smith, he was like 11 when he made that movie. You hated him at that particular point in time?
I just can't. I can't. He's not a good actor. He's the opposite of a good actor.
I will say he may have acted in what, two things prior to that? I don't know if you're giving
I
him fair
wish it was
shot.
zero.
Or are you talking about the Jaden Smith, like the outspoken activist, fashionista type of Jaden Smith? Is that who you're talking about that you hate?
No, I don't care what your outward views on things are. I care that you nepo baby your way into movies without any talent.
Ooh, that's a harsh criticism because I don't think Willow Smith or Jaden Smith have tried to do that. If anything, I think that they've tried to shy away from that, the whole Nepo baby thing. I don't know, man. I think I'll disagree with you on that one, just because Will Smith shoehorned him and his son in that After Earth movie. And I don't think he's acted since then. I think he's literally dropped off the face of the earth in terms of acting. And Jaden Smith, you're okay in my book. I'm not going to get a tattoo of you on my thigh or anything, but still respect your effort in work and acting.
No, you're good. Dude. Stick to the music. Stick to clapping while your dad sings the Fresh Prince theme song on
Oh,
talk shows.
gosh. Well, for Karate Kid, to get back to the film that we're actually talking about, but I thought that was a pretty fun bantering little quip that we had right there. But yeah, so my origin with Karate Kid, I have loved the original ever since it came out. I want to say, was it last year or the year before? We did a celebration of 40-year-old movies, and we watched some clips of 40-year-old movies, and Karate Kid was one of them. One of my top five films of all time. Just a really, really great movie. A lot of fun. And everyone wanted to do karate after that. Everybody. As you got into the other movies, I didn't like the second one as much until about 5 years ago when I rewatched it. And just hit me really, really good. And I thought everything was really well done about it. And just the superior acting and moment that Pat Morita and Ralph Macchio have after Miyagi's dad dies. It's like a really somber moment, but probably some of the best acting, even though it's just simplistic Jersey style personality as he's talking to Miyagi. Just a fantastic scene. One of my favorites out of the entire series, if not my favorite scene out of the entire series. Going into Karate Kid 3, loved Karate Kid 3. Good God, is that cheesy and is it awful? And it's just really really unbelievable, but still fun nonetheless. And yeah, same thoughts on you on the next Karate Kid. I watched it once. Maybe I might even say one and a half times, just because I entertained the thought of trying to go back into it, and I just I couldn't finish it. But the Jaden Smith one, I thought it was okay, but it wasn't the Karate Kid. I did like him and Jackie Chan as Mr. Han in that movie, but it wasn't a Karate Kid story. I don't even think it was like in the same vein of things. Yes, it kind of did the same thing where kid moves to a new place and then gets bullied by those people, but at the same time, I like the Karate Kid story. And when you're doing kung fu, that's not karate. I'm not like a martial arts snob, but at the same time, I respect the different styles. So why call it Karate Kid when you're doing Kung Fu? Then Cobra Kai came out. I don't think you have watched Cobra Kai at all. Is that correct?
I have not. I stayed out of it. I feel like a show like that, you have to have a little bit of a desire and an in to do it, especially because for me, the protagonist, at least at the beginning of it, is not the character that I enjoy from the original movies. I love the juxtaposition from a writing perspective and from a creative perspective. I just haven't got it in it, and I don't want Daniel LaRusso to be the bad guy.
I want to make sure that we do talk about Cobra Kai a little bit later
Hmm.
on. But in terms of my origin, going into this movie, I was stoked to see that they were going to combine the two different styles, like Kung Fu and karate. But this movie had all of the right ingredients to be awesome because you have the nostalgia factor, you have a legit martial artists that are in it. So I was thinking like, okay, the choreography is going to be pretty sweet. Maybe it'll be, not as simplistic as the karate point fighting system is as it was in the previous movies, but hey, I'm down for some good action. So let's see what this is all about. But I was kind of stoked that they were bringing back Ralph Macchio. I didn't think he was going to come back for it at all, but it makes sense, especially with how popular Cobra Kai was. You want to have some type of tie-in to the original series, so that way it can kind of have that nostalgia factor. People will flock to the theaters to go see this. Maybe not in as much as like a Marvel or Star Wars movie, but at the same time, the fan base is there. It's loyal, and there's a lot of Jackie Chan fans out there too. So it's a good move, and so I was pretty down for it. What about you? Were there any expectations heading into this movie?
I was hoping that they didn't just shove the Jackie Chan movie down your throat because I didn't watch it. The cast made me abstain, as you could probably guess. But I knew that they were gonna bring Daniel into it, so I was game, and I enjoyed the original movies. This movie's gonna do really well internationally, I think, because I think if it gets into the Chinese market, it'll do well, and it should do well here too, to your point, for the fan base. It's one of those movies that I think will cross both barriers and do better than most people think because the way they structured the story, two branch same tree, really I thought was brilliant. It was all respect, and it gave those of us that grew up on the OG movies and the ability to still appreciate the same level of respect and and discipline that Miyagi brought to stuff. And I mean, everybody loves Jackie Chan. By the way, that guy moves like no other 71-year-old ever. Like, did he use a stunt double for this movie? Because I don't know how he was that fast.
So that's what I'm not sure of. Like at least from the scene where he not breaks in, but is in Li Fang's apartment. I was thinking like, oh, is that really Jackie that's doing the movements? It looks like him. I'm not sure. But I mean, the guy still has flexibility and he still has the ability to move. And when you're that deep into the martial arts, I don't think you just lose that. Unless you turn into like Steven Seagal and gain like 200 pounds.
Unless
Like
you
I
eat
just,
too many beignets while patrolling Bourbon Street.
yeah, right? Um,
I'm a policeman. I don't know if you knew this. For the last 20 years, I've been a cop.
I'm
God,
holding you down.
fucking Steven Seagal.
But
Oh,
yeah, so I've got the utmost respect for Jackie Chan. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure if he did all of his stunts or if they did bring someone else in that could move a little bit quicker. There's no shame in that. I really don't feel that there's any shame in that. It would be cool if he did all of his stunts, but Jackie Chan,
I mean,
well beyond retirement years, he should be able
oh,
to just do what he wants and just relax. But it was cool
he's
to
also
see him.
Jackie Chan. He's a psycho. He's Mr. I've never used the stunt man. So, and he was working a lot with Ralph Macchio. So their scenes where they were going at it, I thought that was just so cool that Ralph even had it. So my guess is they went real slow and sped it up a bit. But either way, like I thought the martial arts in this were pretty impressive,
Well,
especially
before,
compared to the first Karate Kid movie.
sure. Sure. All respect to the first Karate Kid, but it was just enough martial arts in that first movie, right? Like you were still jazzed about it. Was it the same type of fighting as in, like John Wick or like The Raid or anything like that? No, of course not. But
No dragon kicks in
still,
the OG, just cranes.
yeah,
Just cranes. More
still,
Gracie.
still really solid. And before we get into like the action and all the other details about it, I'm curious to know what your version of the plot is.
After a terribly traumatic mugging, mother removes son from a dangerous neighborhood and moves him to an even more dangerous neighborhood in New York to chase her dream to be part of Grey's Anatomy.
It's just all about the mom. Nothing else. Just all about the mom. Interesting take on the plot. So going from the first Karate Kid, where it's this kid from Jersey goes out to the West Coast in California, did you like that it was kind of following suit with that, or were you part of that train of thought of like, are we just gonna rehash this and make the old movie into the new movie with sprinkling some old characters? Like, were you upset about that, or were
Listen,
you okay to see where it goes?
everything in life is a remix at this point. There's only so many versions of a story you can tell. It's like the hero's journey only has so many options. It's the mythos exists because of the relationship between mentor, mentee, overcoming adversity, wisdom, and character. Why mess with that? Candidly, there's some areas in this movie where I'm pissed they had opportunities screaming for them to make reference to the other films and they didn't. And we'll
Which
get to
parts are you
those.
think?
We'll get to those.
So you want to get to those scenes where that you thought that they were screaming for some callbacks?
So, first of all, how Daniel doesn't teach him the crane kick is beyond me. Given they did the foreshadowing early in the movie and talked about the dragon kick, and then they came back to the dragon kick at the end, which I'm a huge fan of. Like, you know, it's going to be important, and they come back to it. Something his brother taught him. That was great. I love that. But you don't use the most iconic, like, watch him kick Daniel in the face when Daniel tries to do a crane kick to him. Let's go. Just bring it back. That to me was a missed opportunity. Um, they did use sweep the leg in this movie.
Yeah.
Did you sit up when he said sweep the leg?
I heard it and I was good with it. I like the little, the little nods and callbacks to stuff. I was actually okay with the crane kick not being there because from a ridiculous point of view, I would have liked to see Lee Fong, Ben Wong's character, just kind of do the legit crane technique from the kung fu style. Like, and this might just be from the martial arts nerds, but I don't know if you've ever seen the interview with Bruce Lee back when he was doing like a screen test for TV, and they had him just do a bunch of stuff, and one of them was the crane technique. It is called the crane style, and so a lot different of movements. But it's a lot more impressive looking too. So I would have loved to see Daniel doing the crane, but then Lee Fong just kind of showing, or even Jackie Chan would have been sweet to see. Like, oh, that's Miyagi-Do's version of the crane. Let me show you mine. Because I love the fact that they were kind of going, they're button heads saying like,
Mm-hmm.
karate's better, kung fu's better. Yeah, but karate did this. Yeah, but Kung Fu did it first. Like that was great. I love the fact that they're these two old dudes that are super great at martial arts in canon. Um, they're just having this pissing contest of which style is better because that's always the case. Everyone always thinks their
Mm-hmm.
style is better. In reality, Connor, whatever his name was, the antagonist of this film, he was probably the best martial artist out of all of them because he was doing MMA at a gym. So he's like putting all that stuff together. So I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the pissing match between Miyagi and Mr. Han, or
I love
Daniel
the
and Mr. Han?
I love the chemistry that they were able to build with Jackie Chan, who builds chemistry with anybody in a phone booth, like it's his job. And one of the more awkward actors of the 90s, some may say at times, Ralph Macchio. It
In the
just
90s,
was,
did he do acting in the 90s besides My Cousin Vinny? I don't
I
remember.
mean,
I don't remember.
I can't remember any buddy picks with Ralph Macchio other than my cousin Vinny. Um, but like Ralph Macchio is not somebody you think of putting in a cast and he's just gonna gel well, right? His Pony Boy Curtis was not that great.
Oh,
If you
really?
will.
I thought he had the best role out of everyone. Like everyone else could act like a douchebag. He had to actually act in, in different phases of stuff. He's just like this weak kid while all the other dudes are just acting like jackasses. Even Tom Cruise, total jackass in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Greaser too. Except for his blonde hair, and that is just so bad. Either way, we're not talking about the Outsiders. We're talking about the Karate Kid, and I loved their banter.
What about the main character, Li Fong, played by Ben Huang? What did you think about him, and what did you think about his character already being a badass at Kung Fu? Did that surprise you, or were we kind of, expecting like, okay, he's gonna be a badass, and like, what did you think of that point of the plot?
I thought that the humility that he showed early, right, was a great way to reflect the like depressed nature that he was feeling, right? Because he'd lost his brother. I thought it was really interesting because at the beginning you don't know. Is he really BA? Is he just the one that never practiced hard enough and now he's there because he feels obligated to and he's hiding from himself? You don't know. And then you just see him doing fucking dragon kicks on shit. I really thought that the actor did a great job. I was
I I like the actor. He was in a Disney Plus series, American Born Chinese, and my family and I watched a few episodes of it. Really good. Really good. Some really cool martial arts scenes in it. Plot's a little bit out there, but I thought he did a really good job in that. And I was pleasantly surprised to see him in this. And I love the fact that he just wasn't some Asian kid that just didn't know how to kick or punch. I love the fact that he already had the skill set and there was potential that was there. I don't know if you're a Bruce Lee fan, but there's even some callbacks and maybe some homage. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but similar to how Li Fong won't fight, he made a promise not to fight in the Big Boss, and he makes a promise to his family that he's not going to fight. And he goes out to Thailand, and then hilarity ensues because it's just fucking fights every day. And so then he's just like this badass motherfucker. So Li Fong is a badass, but man, he's having a rough go at life. His brother dies from a freak accident. I did not see that coming where it's like they killed him almost like Kickboxer 2 style, where the person that lost to him just goes out and kills him. So that was a shocker. Did you expect to see that in a Karate Kid movie?
No, but I also didn't expect to see pacey boxing in a Karate Kid movie. So there was enough of a shakeup in this to do it. And I also thought that the depth they added to the character to show his expertise that he could mentor was a nice change from some of the other martial arts movies that take the same, or any movie that take on that same hero's journey of these, they found a mentor and they got better. He had the foundation to actually like realistically win a large scale martial arts tournament, as opposed to, oh, I found a lightsaber and now I could beat the most powerful dark Jedi in the galaxy. Like, you know,
Hey, hey.
I feel like they showed his bona fides and his good heart, and I enjoyed that part of the movie and that part of the plot. Again, I thought that they did so much great work with the protagonist that you couldn't not like him.
I love the fact that you bring that up because this is the first Karate Kid movie where the kid is pretty much likable from the start all the way to the end. So there's a few times actually multiple times in the first three movies of the Karate Kid that Daniel's just like fucking prick, immature prick, kind of just, you know, you kind of don't like him at times. But for Li Fong's character, Li Fong as a character, I feel like he's so much more likable and it's almost more relatable to like, oh yeah, I feel bad for him. So he is kind of isolated in this female-led dominant household. And if you know anything about like Asian culture, you are underneath the microscope from an Asian parent's perspective. Like you're only going to be the best. You only have to do, or you can only do things to achieve greatness. But yet his mom is so scared of letting him do anything. Now she's just being overbearing without the expectations of doing something great. So that's kind of where I saw it as a very interesting take on things. Like, yeah, you feel bad for the kid, for Li Fong, and you kind of hate the mom, right? Because the mom is like unreasonable. He shows up with a black eye And she like, rips a tea bag off of him like, I told you no fighting. That's like the crazy thing to me is why are you mad that your kid has a black eye? And why aren't you asking him, is he okay? It kind of puts things into perspective as parents. Sometimes we're so quick on the draw to reprimand our children, but at the same time, when it's something serious like that, no reprimanding should be done. You should be asking, are you okay? What happened? Just talking with him.
I mean, she was the one that had to register his hands as lethal weapons as his guardian, so she knows he's fine. Just caught a bad hit. She was really
I
worried about who he murdered on the subway and thinking back to the patients she saw overnight. Which one did he dragon kick? Fuck.
yeah. I feel like this movie is short, and I was kind of surprised to see the length of it, but also not surprised at the same time. I was thinking like, oh, 90 minutes, yeah, this makes sense because they just want to do like an entertaining, here you go, fan service type of movie. That's what I thought going into it. But as I'm going through the movie, it's like they're moving fast throughout everything through the plot. And whether you think it's building or it's just it's okay. We don't need to know that stuff. I'd be curious to know your opinion because this was a very fast movie, and we don't even get Ralph Macchio until like the third act. Like the last week that he's training to be in the Five Boroughs karate competition.
Uh, I didn't really feel its pace, and there might be reasons for that. Candidly, this was the second movie I watched in a double feature at a theater. I went to two movies in one night. It was great,
What was the
and
first?
I got to AMC sent me a like an invite for a um
Unknown movie?
unknown movie. Yeah, yeah. Like an unknown R-rated movie. I was like, maybe it's Ballerina. Let's do both of these in one night. It was not.
I
Um
was hoping it was Ballerina. I was thinking, well, so what was it?
it was the new Tom Hiddleston movie.
Oh, okay.
Chuck.
Yeah, yeah,
Really
yeah.
good movie.
I've
Movie
heard good
that
things.
you don't see that kind of movie get made anymore. That's like introspective, cut up well. It had a lot of like um, early 90s deep good feeling to it. So I really enjoyed it. Big thumbs up to that. But in general, that movie was under 2 hours, and then Karate Kid was the same. And I didn't feel a lag in the movie, which is what I normally will like complain about. Like uh um a lot of the Marvel movies that get soggy in the third act or that the fight kind of sucks. Captain America. So
I thought that was the
I
best part of the movie is the that short fight third act.
it was the lead up to the short fight that killed me. But either way, didn't feel a lag, didn't feel rushed. It felt right. I mean, the original Karate Kid movies weren't super long, but thinking about it, they fit a lot in. They
Yeah.
fit two training montages, two end fights. But I think that it kept moving and you cared about the characters the whole time, which is like a testament to the quality acting in this movie. Because without an actor that you cared enough about, he was just flawless, in my opinion. Like, didn't annoy anybody. We talked a lot about the the failed Karate Kids and the whiny, annoying Karate Kid that we all just accept and love, because Johnny Lawrence is not the Karate Kid. So, in general, one of the best actor Karate Kids that we've ever had.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I love the fact that he's not an idiot. I like my heroes kind of being badass, humble but badass. I don't like seeing someone just get their ass kicked and the floor mopped with them for the first 75 minutes of a movie, and then for the last 15 minutes, all of a sudden he's like, it's finally all coming together. He's mastered it. Like the Karate Kid, from a realist perspective, he should have been smoked, but you're rooting for him because it's the underdog story. And he has just enough to be dangerous. And in some cases, it's just the quality, not the quantity of what you know. I was a little bit kind of going back and forth on the pacing because I feel like, oh, I like that this is going from one thing to another and there's not a lot of lulls in the movie. But at the same time, there's not a lot of character development either. You kind of just have to take it for face value as to like, okay, we're just taking a peek into their lives. We're not going to get a whole lot of backstory on a lot of the people. They are the way that they are, and we'll get maybe like a 10-second clever writing exposition as to like this is why I am the way I am or the situation that I'm in. You could say it's convenient writing, but I'm okay with that because I don't need to know what Pacey from Dawson's Creek's boxing record was. Was he really the best? I don't know. They didn't even say like a specific title. I don't even know if they said a weight class, but
No, they said
they
he was
left.
Golden Gloves. There, he was Gold
Oh,
Gloves.
did they say? Okay,
Yeah,
so you said they said Golden Gloves. All
yeah.
right. So there's enough to explain the the luster of everything. And I don't need much more than that because I might not ever see these characters again. And if we do, okay, we can explore it then. But we don't need to know every single thing and their entire life story. So I was good with that. Li Fong is an intelligent protagonist. Has been a really nice, refreshing take on the Karate Kid for sure. Because I was just getting tired of kids getting beat up. You know, that's one of the that's one of the things that was just got a little long in the tooth. But did he get beat up in this one? Kind of, sort of. But he also whooped some major ass pretty early on. So. But after that ass whooping, I like how they kind of do the reverse Miyagi on that one. Instead of Pacey rescuing him, it's Li Fong that's actually rescuing him because he got into some shit. What did you think of that alley fight scene?
I think that's when they pulled when they kind of pulled the curtain back and said, "Oh, this kid's dangerous," and it made the movie so much more believable because, I mean, if you are a well-trained kung fu practitioner, taking out a couple of thugs is not a hard thing to do, right? Like if you're
I
just
mean,
water, you just move like
for
water. But he also was kind of sloppy with it too and got thrown around a little bit. Um,
yeah,
so it was solid.
very Jackie Chan esque. You know, that's what I liked about it. I imagine Jackie Chan had some input into the choreography, or whoever the martial arts choreographer was inspired by Jackie Chan and say like, hey, let's do some cool fight scenes to where you're bringing the environment and everything into it, and then it's just like this funny kind of action-packed brawl, but you know he's still getting his hits in, but he's also getting hit too. So it's like good homage to Jackie Chan and even just kung fu movies in general. It's very cool to see that type of choreography, and by far, just by that fight scene alone, the best choreography in the entire series.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I would really like to see an interview with that fight choreographer to see if he was able to just sit down. Like, how do you, if that's your job, not say, "Excuse me, Mr. Chan, do you have any input?" Like, that's like having Yo-Yo Ma at at a cello event and not being like, "Would you like to play some cello?" It's you just do it. You just learn from those that are valuable around you and like think about that opportunity as the guy who got hired to fight choreograph. Like, you're bringing in Jackie Chan. Oh shit, I have to write fight choreography. Jackie, what do you want to do here? It turns into that paradigm. When Tom Brady goes to the Buccaneers, they're like, "What playbook, Tom?" Which, just circle what you like, X's on the nose. Let's just, what do you want us to get Gronk? No problem. What do you want him to do? Great. It's the same like mentality, like no disrespect to the young man or to Ralph Macchio, but none of them have the gravitas that Jackie Chan does. I mean, I haven't seen a bad fight choreographed Jackie Chan movie. Even the Rush Hour movies, which are meant to be comedies, are
Great.
sick nasty.
I think this was PG-13. I was surprised it even got PG-13 just because of the fact that like I don't even think there was any swears.
No, they
I'm
used all
pretty
of their hits on violence.
yeah, like I think the only blood was during the Pacey boxing scene, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no blood during the Murd Italy Erdler because they went black and white.
What did you think about Pacey's storyline in this movie? And I'm sorry, it's Victor in the movie, but come
No,
on,
it's
if
Pacey.
it's
And the
Pacey
whole
from
time
Dawson's Creek,
I'm sitting there, I'm like, fucking Pacey. which
Joshua
ties
Jackson.
in ties into Pacey because wasn't he like a chef or something? And then
He
he,
was. He fucking
and then
was.
during his
Oh my
boxing
God.
career, all he did was picture Dawson's face. Like we can write that backstory right now. And didn't he work at a pizza place at the Creek?
Hmm.
I don't
Boathouse.
know.
Maybe
I
the
don't know.
boathouse.
But I don't want to wait because it doesn't
I
matter.
don't want to wait. So dumb.
But yeah, no, I will only refer to him as Pacey, and he was awesome in this.
But going back to Joshua Jackson, Pacey, I didn't really know where this plot was going because you have Li Fong as like his coach. Okay, well, this is an interesting take. I can sort of buy this, but there's no way it's going to end that way. And so there's this whole side quest of like you need to find the worn out pizza shop owner and you need to train him in kung fu. And he needs to get nothing resolved by him fighting after getting trained. It didn't Martha me by any means. I was just like, oh yeah, this kind of didn't really go anywhere. That's
Well,
interesting.
no, I think it did. I think what happened is they let him kind of get his confidence back. He was flirting with the girl. Everything was going well. He was riding to a high level. And then he re-experienced his trauma again and had to face that again
Oh yeah,
and
I
didn't
get that.
overcome it, but buckled again. That's when Drunken Master had to come in to really pick them up.
I agree with you 100% on that. I'm not even talking about Li Fong. I'm talking about Pacey. Like nothing gets resolved from him training and then getting his ass kicked. Uh,
And dude's daughter absolutely got some action.
I like the fact that the girl actually liked the protagonist for once. Like, yeah, you get a little bit of that, but I think it's more of a, oh, he's in the first Karate Kid with Allie and Daniel. I think it's more of like, huh, this is interesting. He's from somewhere new. I think I'll date him. And I think that's all that it was. I think that's all that it was. And it was great to have her in his corner, but she wasn't a great girlfriend by any means. This other girl might be even worse than Allie, but at least she shows that she really likes him. And so what I mean by worst is remember when they go to that street festival and him and like his guitar playing tutor see her at the festival, and Connor's there, the guy that sucker punches him.
Making out with the sucker punch guy.
Not even making out. They don't do anything. They don't see anything. But I know what it was like to be in high school. If I saw a girl that I liked with her ex-boyfriend, I would feel a little bit bummed about that too. But the funny thing is about that is like her explanation, her monologue, it makes sense from a high schooler's perspective. From an adult perspective, I don't know if you were like me. I was thinking like, this bitch is crazy. She's totally not for you. This isn't going to work at all whatsoever.
Well,
She's into making lots of mistakes.
that's because we both look back at all the crazies that we've associated with from high school through college, and we're just like, oh, that's a red flag, bro. Red flag. Run.
Yeah.
Dragon kick in the opposite direction.
I like her dad more than her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she was like a charming character and like the boy girl dynamic of like, there's a little bit of flirting there, but I don't think it was overdone in the movie. Unlike in the Karate Kid, I thought their kiss was strange in front of golf and stuff when they kiss for the first time. It's just strange. He's so tall and lanky, and she just seems more like an actual woman. So it's just such a weird comparison to see those two together. This one, I was perfectly fine. It's like, oh, this seems like a normal relationship, so I'll allow it.
I'll
That's what I
allow it.
was
Yeah.
thinking from
I'm
my
glad they had
parental
your
eyes.
blessing. I'm glad they had
Yeah,
your blessing.
hey, we're parents now, man. We got to make sure that things are
Oh.
okay. What do you think about Connor's antagonist? Do you buy him as the antagonist, or do you think it's his dad? And do you think anything's really going to be truly resolved, or is it going to be like one big fight at the end?
You know what I was just happy to see? The bad guy with a long black ponytail. We have not had good evil characters with well groomed straight black ponytails on white men in a long time. And now it's back, baby.
Okay. So you weren't questioning as to how this was going to get resolved because I was having a little bit of a tough time as to like, so who's the hero, who's the villain? And yeah, face value, obviously it's Li Fong as the hero, but the dad is kind of a prick. I didn't know if they were gonna Karate Kid 2 it up and have him like disown his son at the end of the tournament because he failed. And then all of a sudden it's, Han and Daniel have to defend him and protect him or something like that. I thought something like that would have happened, and it would have been cool to see. But we don't see that just except for like a little bit of Daniel and Mr. Han fighting together after one of Li Fong's fights before the finals.
Yeah. I think that there are many pieces of Karate Kid Part 2 that we should have seen in this movie, and we didn't. There could have been more of a ceremony, some more little boats, perhaps a cool, like, velvety gi worn somewhere. I don't know. But maybe Daniel could have pulled out his cool Okinawan jacket,
That
which
was a cool. I really like that
it was
jacket in that
dope. It
movie.
was dope. Could have brought that out to train people in. Like, who doesn't want a Karate Kid 2 smoking jacket to train his students in? That
Funny
roof had to
stuff.
be chilly, especially if you're coming from the West Coast. But um, no, I hear you. The one thing this movie did is it balanced the new and the old in a great way, where other movies that are series extensions lean so heavily into Easter eggs that we're just like, I don't have enough Easter eggs. Where are all the Easter eggs? I think that's good. I think that keeps the movie a little fresh and doesn't take away from the fact that you have a talented cast that can tell this story. They did spend all of their budget on the positive side of the cast because all that there was one dimension that could have been a stick figure kid. Like that kid was a stunt performer that they let say some lines. There was no acting there.
Are you
That
talking
was
about
reminiscent of the first movie. The
Connor?
antagonist, yeah,
Yeah.
Connor. He was
Yeah, they
like
did.
the
They gave him jack shit to do in this movie. It's just like, hey, be a prick.
yeah,
Okay.
go kick some shit and be a prick.
He was the worst. Like
He
way
was
worse than Johnny.
he
Way
had
worse
the
than Johnny.
depth of the put him in a body bag guy. That
Yeah,
was
but
him.
even he was more. He was a better
Expressive.
actor because you really hated him. Like that. I don't know if you hate Connor as much as you are just like, yeah, kind of the kid's kind of a jerk. That's it. That's all you think about. But like you
You know what he
hated
was like?
Dutch in
He
the first movie.
reminded me. He reminded me of the bad guy in any like 80s Schwarzenegger movie. Like totally depthless, just there for the fight scene at the end, and
Oh
that's it.
man.
Not even any good lines.
Are you telling me that Bennett in Commando
Yeah.
he was awesome,
I
man. He
mean,
was the
Bennett
best.
was solid. Bennett was probably, I mean, if you think about it from an acting and just like a hilarity perspective, Bennett leads the Mount Rushmore of Arnold Schwarzenegger,
He does.
Arnold Schwarzenegger opponents in the 80s. Like
I
he
mean,
is the coolest one.
so ridiculous. Oh God, we need to do a Commando revisit
Blow
because
off some
goddamn,
steam, Bennett.
holy shit, man. He was the inspiration for Kano. And the fact that he had that like, S&M shirt on the entire fucking movie, like it was so weird, so strange, but just fantastic. I feel like the action, the choreography was great, and you had mentioned that as well. What did you think of like the training montage where like finally Daniel gets to New York? And what did you think about Han going to fly out to California to see him? And then that fucking shitty, awful California Love remix.
Yeah, I ignored the music in this movie because it didn't do anything except exist. So I wasn't like a huge fan. I wasn't not. It again, it didn't I don't remember it. It didn't hit me, so that means it was meh. Um I like that they went to the house and that's where he knew to go. And he brought the bottle of booze, and they reminisced about how they sat there drinking, talking about their students, which you could totally see some. Oh no, my student would kick your student. Like I could totally see that, right? Like
I don't think Miyagi would do that. I
I don't
really
think
think
the Miyagi that we know as the stoic Miyagi would, but the Miyagi that drinks, if we remember, is a much more fun and animated and singing Miyagi.
depressed guy. That's what it was, is when he drank. So
But
I
then he
feel
had his buddy
bad.
with him.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm not making fun of alcoholism by any means. But I just feel like, you know, it echoes the one-upmanship that Daniel had with him. And, you know, he gave him the same level of respect and camaraderie. So I enjoyed that. Um, you know, I like that Daniel has a shrine to Miyagi in Miyagi's house. So that was pretty solid. But there's the one thing that kind of disappointed me, I guess, was none of the Miyagi techniques were used. Not the blocking one with the drum. Like, didn't you? The drum was there. It was on the shrine. He could have packed the drum in his carry-on and brought that shit to teach him blocking. Didn't do it. No wax on and wax off and no cranking. It was like all he said was, "Oh, you can get further away and stand up straighter." Like all of the non-athletic things are the things that Daniel kind of got like brought to him. No Miyagiisms, and that made me sad.
Uh, I noticed that as well. But he did use some of the things that Daniel taught him, or at least that Daniel did on screen, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So like that throw at the very end, I thought that was cool where they looped it in. It wasn't Miyagi based, but Miyagi Do based, assuming Daniel learned that from him. So he did pay a lot of homages and a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of dialogue pieces that hinted back at previous movies. As Li Fong and the girl are driving away on the scooter, and he's like, "Have you ever ridden one of these before?" He's like, "No, first time." I just remembered from when Miyagi would say that in the first movie. So I was like, "Oh God, that's so cool and so clever to just throw in a little bit of dialogue that is reminiscent of the old movie." But yeah, you're right. There wasn't any of the strange things. But here's the thing: would you think that a kid that is that fluent in kung fu would need to do stuff like paint the fence or wax on, wax off?
I think that those teaching techniques are more of a, I think it would be great for somebody that is more voiced because they're not focusing on comparison. You're just focusing on motion. That's the thing. It's not about, oh, sorry, I don't want to make this more basic for you. It's just the philosophy of motion that's transferable, not not he didn't try to make it elementary. It was just transposition. And you'd think that he would have picked up of some of that Miyagi-isms over the years. You reference the kid making the joke. It's like that he never heard the Miyagi joke. So that's what I mean. Like if you teach something that was taught to you, you normally pick up the isms that are omnipresent or that had a huge impact on you. He's teaching him to block. Daniel learning to block was formative with the drum.
Yeah, I
Didn't
mean,
like that's what I
that,
mean. Like if you think about the way you learn to do something is the way you teach somebody else to do something, and that wasn't there. There was no drum. No drum. And the drum, I wanted one of those as a kid, man. And every
to be,
time they had those little clackers that bounce around that you got at like Chuck E. Cheese, I was mad it wasn't that drum.
I was gonna say, like, you go to Disney every year, right? So, like, do you ever go into the Japan section and just pick up one of those drums and just buy them? No,
Do they have them?
never thought. Yeah, yeah, they do.
Oh, guess what I'm coming home with?
I mean, you.
I was go and hunt the Nintendo section and see if there's any cool Nintendo gear. Now I'm getting a drum.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
teach my kid how to fight now with the drum. It's on. It's on.
So I,
And
I,
I'm gonna
I
buy
will
some
say,
Lipton for when he gets a black eye.
just because of the Karate Kid enthusiast and fanatic that I am. So majority of his blocking was taught in the first movie.
Hmm.
The secret of Miyagi karate in the second movie with the drum is both defense and offense at the same time. So not only are you blocking, but you're also striking at the same time. So
Well, then,
just a small correction on
and that's okay. That dummy, the weirdest tackling dummy ever for kung fu. Like he could have been doing that, defense and offense either way.
are you talking about the wooden man? Like that he was
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Not the small one, the one on the roof with all the ropes, the marionette,
Oh yeah.
the
Okay. That
fighting
was kind
Muppet.
of a that was a clever little contraption that they made
It
up.
was, but I'm just saying, like you showed the drum, use the drum.
See, I thought that was a part of the drum callback. Is that apparatus? I don't know.
The
Maybe that's
apparatus was
just
there before Daniel got there.
yeah, but still, sit two branches, same tree.
Listen, again, I would have liked to see the juxtaposition of them one-upping each other with isms.
Sure.
That would have brought me joy. Like Han saying his in the like more eight like his kung fu based Asian limerick, and then Daniel coming back with his Okinawan Asian limerick, and just going back and forth with. I mean, that was the coolest part of that character is he always had such a concise and polished and almost poetic way of making something so technical so simple to understand for that simple boy from New Jersey.
Agreed. So speaking of that simple boy from New Jersey, so how do you think this movie ranks up against the others? I think we could both agree the choreography definitely by far the best out
Yeah,
of the entire series.
action movies have
What
come a long way.
what about the actual plot of the movie? How do you think that ranks up against some of the others?
Karate Kid 3 might be one of my favorite terrible movies.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that this is better than Karate Kid Part 3, even though it is. And Karate Kid 2 is right there in my favorite terrible plot movies. But I'm not going to say that this is better than Karate Kid Part 2, even though it is.
Just from the plot perspective. Just from the plot perspective, though.
It's a second. You got to give the OG its props. Um, but it's right there. It is by far the best non-Pat Morita. It is by far the best non-Daniel and Pat movie.
Okay.
It's the best non-Ralph and Pat. By far, million times better than the next and the Jaden.
We know how we feel about what makes a Karate Kid movie is the lessons of the martial arts. So this one by far has the best choreography. What about the actual training montages? Like which ones do you think had the best montage?
This one has two, which kind of makes it better.
And it's a different person.
And
So,
it's different styles, it's versatility. It's technically three because he gets the Han training and then the Daniel and Han training. So um again, while I want the limerick based teaching because it's so close to my heart, um this is pretty solid. Though
okay.
the beach scenes where Daniel and Miyagi do it together in two, that's two, right? And the
Yeah.
cork is on the big freaking blade thing that comes down. Like that I loved that one, man. That sticks up there as so
Okay.
cool. I think two had a better montage than one, candidly.
I disagree in the sense that I love the tournament montage. The tournament montage was
You said
awesome.
training montage.
Yeah. No, I did. I did.
Two has the better training montage than one. The tournament montage in one is better than all of them.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Uh, But the overall plot of, the Five Boroughs tournaments, as we're coming to a close here, like that's the end all be all resolution for everything. And I just found it kind of funny that it was the Five Boroughs, and the only thing that I could think of at the very end fight scene, which building were they on? Were they on top of the Empire State Building, or was it some
No,
other building?
it was a different building. That was not the Empire
Okay.
State Building.
Whatever building they were on, obviously this is like a really popular event. Where did all these kids get the money for these tickets to be on a rooftop and watch a kung fu slash karate slash fighting tournament?
Where did Pacey, who owes somebody 50 grand, get the money for the tickets?
Yeah, how was he allowed to attend is what I'm curious. I would have thought they finished the job after they realized like, oh, he's still in the hospital and he's still alive. Well, we'll send Rico over there and we'll settle that right
I
away.
I
Like,
also don't think that the state of New York or the city of New York is going to approve an amateur karate tournament on a rooftop.
no sanctioned fights for teenagers on rooftops, no?
I mean, it's not, it doesn't need to be sanctioned, but I'm just saying, like, they're gonna shut that down.
Yeah, very unrealistic. Very unrealistic.
But that's the charm, man. Just like
I'll
the first
say
movie, face kicks counted as wins, even though they were disqualified. Like Daniel lost, but he didn't.
I like the fact that they changed up the format. So like, all right, it's got to be the first to 8 points or knockout. Like, okay, great, because this whole 3 point bullshit was nuts. Like, I felt
Dude,
like that
dude,
wasn't enough to determine
uh,
the winner.
was it just me, or was that kid getting like way too easy knockouts? And if you just watch the fight scene, who was more brutal? Because Homeboy was face kicking, jack knocking out everybody.
I didn't see any problems with the quick knockouts because that shit happens, and that's how knockouts happen. Fuck,
Yeah,
I
but
didn't expect them
Homeboy
to
was
hit me that hard.
delivering brain damage
Yeah.
everywhere.
You gotta look menacing when you're either both the protagonist and antagonist, just because that way it's more believable and hyped for a real fight. It's not going to be like the point fight that Johnny and Daniel had, where there was action there, but at the same time, it wasn't the same beautifully choreographed martial arts that you see here. I think that's where the element of expertise comes into play because great, you can showcase the martial art. It's going to look good, it's going to be effective, and yeah, people should realize you play around with this shit, you could get knocked out, plain and simple.
No, no. But either way, I didn't like the brutality that they put on the protagonist.
But we're at that part of the show though. Did anything Martha you?
One thing marred me. There was a perfect, absolutely perfect Easter egg opportunity that was lost. At the end of the movie, at the end of the final fight, when dude comes back at him and he's like got the freaking kill shot, kill shot, kill shot. What did we want to see? What did
You
you
want
want
it.
to see? What did I
You
want
were
to see?
you were expecting him to honk his nose.
I wanted the honk so bad. I'm
I
in
did
my
too.
chair like, he's gonna honk, he's gonna honk. And he just doesn't. And I'm just, ugh.
I'm okay with that though,
No.
because we didn't see any reference to him honking his fucking nose. If there was a scene where Han and him were drinking or they were just hanging out with Li Fong, and they just happened to talk about like, Mr. Miyagi was great this one time, and then they go into the story and they
But they
replay the
could have
scene or
done the
whatever it
exact
is.
same thing on the back end of the honk. He could have done the honk and dropped him, looked at his grandpa or whatever, looked at Han. Han could have been like, eh? And Daniel could have been like, I remember. And it could have just been a silent, quick moment where Daniel's like, and you could have done it. You could have done it. And
You
it would have
could
given,
have.
it fit with the character though, because the kid was funny.
I yes, he was funny. However, I think it is part of his growth as a character too, to where it's like he still has this pent up rage in the fact that he's been kind of fucked over this entire time he's been in New York and in the United States, that like he's still, I think to me it just kind of symbolized he has this aggression and he let it out and now it's done. Like he didn't, he wasn't the passive Asian kid that just let it happen. It's just like, no,
Mhm.
he let his aggression out. He won the fight. He could have done a kill shot, didn't do a kill shot, but he also wasn't funny about it. He literally threw his hand down to let his opponent know, like, I could have fucked you up right now, but I didn't. I'm still pissed, but I am letting this go right now. You're welcome. And I thought that was okay because it's one thing for your protagonist to be funny and have some nice Easter eggs, but it's another thing to be like, okay, I have achieved my own personal sense of growth here because I've overcome my grief with my brother. I've settled my friend's dad's affairs with everything, which, by the way, Li Fong totally settled all the affairs. He paid for his debt and everything and paid for another pizza shop. What fucking world does that happen when a kid does that for a full grown adult? I don't know. Only in the movies, only in Hollywood, only in actors. But
It's
that was
those
where
crazy rich Asians, Dan. That's what it is.
that's what the only thing that Marthaed me was that is that I was like, I like Pacey. I liked his little arc, and I love the fact that, I loved his chemistry with Li Fong in it.
Hmm.
But it was just like, yeah, looks like Pacey got a really good deal. And then was it O'Shea, Connor's dad? It seemed like he got the best deal out of everything because he still got paid and he's fine now. So it's like, yeah, his son lost, but hey, at least I got my money. That's probably what he was more concerned
You
about to
know,
begin with,
Pacey got the
anyways.
extra money from betting on Li Fong, right?
Sure, but so what? It's still the fact that Li Fong. I didn't say this in the movie, but you know goddamn well that he won the tournament and he paid off Victor's debt, Pacey's debt. It's just ridiculous. It's so stupid.
It's a movie, Dan. Let it be. Let
Yeah,
it be.
but hey, that's the thing that Martha's me.
But for all that reason, we should
That's
have got a
it.
honk. Should have got a honk.
Nah, maybe. But that leads us to a final question for you, Mark. When it comes to the Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan collaboration that we never knew that we wanted, but is here, Karate Kid Legends. Can you do this all day?
Um, yeah. Yeah, I liked it. It's the first OG throwback to a movie I've liked in a while. I thought it was very well done. I think my kid would like it if we can get past some of the violence and he'll start karate chopping everything in the house. But like, I think it's good. I think that I could watch this again. Unlike certain Captain America movies that I tried to rewatch recently and fell asleep during. Um, but yeah, I'm stoked for this to come to streaming because I will watch it again. But I'm not the one that I'm worried about. I'm worried about our martial art movie connoisseur and judgy drunken master over here. Uh, um, Dan, when it comes to Karate Kid Legends, is it legend? Wait for it. I can do this all day, Ari, or are you passing?
So I really wanted to like this movie so much, and it was cool that Ralph Macchio was going to be in it. Even cooler that Johnny Lawrence was in at the end on the post-credit scene.
That they brought
Uh,
William Zabka in it?
Perfect. Perfect. They couldn't reference anything back to Cobra Kai, but at the same time, he played his character exactly how he was in the Cobra Kai show. So even if you saw that end credit scene and liked him in those 15 seconds, you would love Cobra Kai. He is just
I
a
got a
guy.
feeling, I have a feeling that William Zabka is a single character actor. He's got one move, and this is the move. Like Bruce
Maybe,
Willis, but not as famous.
maybe. But I like him. I like him in Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. He's fantastic. And For this movie, like I said, I really wanted to like it. This is coming off of Cobra Kai, which I watched religiously, and I just wasn't sure how they were going to make it all fit because 90 minutes, short time. Action, fantastic. Choreography, perfect in my opinion. Not too crazy, but also not too childish, not too wiry, if you know what I
Mhm.
mean. I feel like in the next Karate Kid, a lot of wire work was done and a lot of the moves looked fake. So that's where I wasn't down with it. But the fact that you have a smart, well spoken, athletic as fucking dangerous martial artist as a protagonist, that's pretty awesome. And the fact that he's charming enough to get a girl, even better. As an Asian American myself, I feel like, we don't get a whole lot of chances to have that type of romance or chemistry on screen. So it's kind of nice to see this, albeit from a younger generation. And overall, I thought everything that was supposed to hit for me did. The nostalgia was there, the callbacks and the references and the scenery, even that Karate Kid 2 clip at the beginning of the movie that we see makes sense of the whole ordeal with Han and Miyagi-Do. So it was great. I had a fantastic time. Yes, I can do this all day, all the way until the end of time because the Karate Kid series is just fan freaking tastic. It's so freaking good. Even with the stinkers in there, it's still fantastic. And you know what? For this particular style of movie, with as many cameos that you had and different side quests that weren't absolutely necessary, this is the most fun I've had in the theater in 2025. So yeah, that speaks for itself. More so than Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, more so than Captain America Brave New World, I had more fun in this movie. Is it the better movie? No. But had more fun, and that's where I'm sticking to my opinion.
Hey, I can't disagree. This was a fun movie. It wasn't overly long, and you got some cool twists and turns, and minimal Easter eggs, and no honk, but still heart.
That's one thing everyone in this world needs is a little bit of heart. But until next time, that wraps it up for us here at the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Don't forget, y'all, like, subscribe, let us know how close you think this is to Karate Kid Part 3 as a movie. And just to prove that we read our messages in our email, we want to give a heartfelt shout out to Captain Liverpool across the pond. Danny, help me out. Who are we talking about? And and really, what kind of crazy suggestions did he give us?
All right, so we're just a big shout out to at Keith Dukes from Liverpool, UK. Really, really awesome. He just made a comment on one of our videos on YouTube. Big shout out from Liverpool, UK. So, of course, we were very thankful for that shout out and everything. So we asked him, like, hey, are there any movies you would like us to review? And he came up with an interesting list. He's got Train Spotting, Peter Jackson's Bad Taste, and a little cult gem, Brother from Another Planet. So, Keith Dukes, we hear you loud and clear. I said and promised you on the YouTube page that we are going to review one of those movies. So, stick around. We will definitely review that. But yeah, Keith Dukes, YouTube. Anyone else who wants to comment and leave some nice comments and some insightful comments, please do so. We love hearing them. We love seeing them. And in some cases, it's just cool to connect with the listeners out there in the world. So, hello to Liverpool, UK, and any other international listener that is out there. We want to hear from you. We want to see your comments. And Mark, back to you.
Keith Dukes, we see your trap, your pedantic answer, your standard, your safe answer, your interesting answer, and your trap answer. We'll let the listeners decide which one's the trap there. But don't forget, y'all, like, subscribe at I Can Do This All Day podcast at all of the socials that you care about. Um, yeah, it will be a cold day before our next podcast. It'll be a whole week, but we can't wait.
Wax on, wax off, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.